Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report. I'm live with you, and I'm not here to waste a second. Leave your like and subscribe so you don't miss the next chess move. Because what I'm about to break down isn't a rumor to farm clicks. It's the logic tree that our front office has been climbing for weeks, and the reason the temperature around this team just spiked. I'll give you a clean briefing before we dive. First, the context the rest of the league keeps misreading about our timeline. Second, the cap mechanics that make a superstar edition real under apron pressure. Third, the on-court fit next to Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and DeAndre Ayton with J.J. Redick managing the throttle. Fourth, the risk column, defense, usage, durability, and how the staff plans to absorb it. And only only after we earn the reveal, I'll take you to the name and the framework that turns a tense season into a loud one. Around the NBA, people still describe the Lakers with the same word, unpredictable. Some nights we look like a machine, Luka commanding pace, Reeves humming as a second reader, Ayton sealing deep, roll guys flying to the slot, and then we hit that ugly stretch where the half-court slows. Closeouts get hot, and a good defensive team dares us to beat single coverage outside of our star. That's the moment when a contender stops drawing on the whiteboard and starts drawing from the bank. Can you buy yourself a bucket without breaking your structure? That's not a luxury question. It's the only question that matters in April. And the answer, if you're serious, is find the rare guard who can live off Luka's gravity without waiting for Luka's permission, a three-level scorer who hunts space as the second option, but can carry you for 6 straight possessions when the whistles go weird on the road. In plain speak, someone whose best shot is better than your best set. The cap piece scares casuals, but it's simple if you've watched how Rob Pelinka has been cooking the last months. The new CBA punishes heavy teams. Second apron traps, fewer exceptions, pick freezes if you get reckless. That's why our roster is a quilt, star money at the top, then a line of solid mid-range salaries that can match real deals without gutting depth. It's also why the Lakers have prioritized team-controlled contracts and players who can scale up or down in role. You don't make a superstar move with one giant outgoing number anymore. You build a puzzle, a dependable starter-level deal here. A versatile wing there, a defensive piece the receiving team actually wants. Plus picks and swaps that don't burn your future down to the studs. That's how you respect the Stepien rule. Avoid consecutive pick gaps and still sit at the big table when a franchise player becomes available. Now the basketball. This staff wants fast decisions, not highlight edits. Luka bends the floor like a steel bar. Nail help slides in. Weak side defenders cheat. The top lock comes late and everything starts to look crowded. The antidote is not another ball. It's another heartbeat. You want a guard who screens for Luka without ego, slips into daylight, relocates to the right wing where the angle for the pull-up three is clean, and punishes the stunt with a one-dribble rise. You want a wing who cuts when the low man turns his head, who leaks into the empty corner with purpose, who knows that sometimes the best pass is a catch and shoot, and the best dribble is none at all. And you want a killer from 15 feet, because playoff basketball lives at the elbows when the first action dies. That's the offensive profile. Defensively, you accept that you're not buying a stopper. You're buying a competitor who can lock in scheme, chase through staggers without fouling, contest late without jumping into bodies, and then make the next shot so the math swings back your way. Let me show you 2 pictures. Picture 1, home game, second quarter, Luka sits, Smart and Reeves share the steering wheel, Ayton comes up for a DHO. The weak side corner is empty by design. If your second guard is a ghost, the defense pinches the elbows and your possession dies. If your second guard is a grown man, he sets the ghost screen tight, slips hard, turns the angle, and the slot pass lands in shooting pocket. Bang. Picture 2. Road game. 3 minutes to go. Tie score. Your A action gets blown up. You don't need a 12-pass masterpiece. You need someone who can dribble into rhythm from 19 feet and trust his work. That's the difference between a long flight home and a statement win. I promised you a briefing, so here's the meat of the plan without dumping CBA soup on your shoes. To make a superstar guard financially real, the Lakers lean on mid-tier matching plus picks and swaps, a starter-level wing with size, a rugged defender the other team values, a rotation piece who can start in a pinch, and the right draft capital spaced across years so you don't handcuff your future or trigger pick freezes. The point is not to beat the rule book. It's to respect it while putting a real offer on the table that keeps your locker room functional. You do that, and you can talk to any team in the league with a straight face. And yes, you protect a couple of your internal darlings, one young guard who's developing on a favorable deal, one glue guy whose value in our scheme is bigger than his stat line, because stars win rings, but familiar hands keep the boat from taking on water in January. So why now, and why this name? Because the West is thick as concrete and the margin between a top 4 seed and a play-in headache is a handful of late-game possessions. Because the Suns' path has wobbled, their draft control is thin, and their franchise face is too big to waste. Because a 28-year-old in his scoring prime doesn't want to pick between loyalty and losing. And because the Lakers have the one thing every elite scorer secretly wants: a stage that amplifies made shots and a passer who turns good shooters into legends. This front office didn't wake up today and invent this. They've had a Booker-shaped space on the whiteboard for a while, a guard who can average quiet 28s, who can catch fire in a quarter without hijacking an offense, whose gravity is real even when the shot isn't falling, and whose game ages with skill, not just burst. I'm not overthinking this. Devin Booker next to Luka is basketball poetry and playoff practicality. Your spacing gets taller. Your second unit gets calmer, your late game gets simpler. Let's talk usage and ego, because that's the grown-up conversation. Luka's usage stays elite. That's why he's here. Booker arrives not to become a heliocentric savior, but to live in the gaps. Second side creation, elbow touches off a blind pig, quick hitter sets where he screens first and receives later. Reeves becomes the perfect hinge. He'll keep the chain moving, guard the toughest perimeter assignment some nights, and chew small possessions out of nothing. Ayton's life gets easier. Deeper seals, softer help, more lobs because the weak side tagger is a step late watching Booker. Marcus Smart's value spikes in the lineups where defense has to drive offense. He sets the tone, crashes the gaps, and lets Booker sprint into early threes without handling mud. The staff's job is to polish the rolls, not inflate them. J.J. Redick is not going to run 15 new sets. He's going to teach a few perfect ones and hammer them until they hum. Risk column, let's be adults. Defense will be the headline the first time we give up a 12-2 run to a jitterbug point guard. But this is where structure beats narrative. You build coverages that simplify the reads. Top lock the hot hand. Switch late with length. Protect the nail with bodies, not gambles. And finish the possession with gang rebounds so you don't bleed second-chance threes. Booker's job in that world is compete on the ball, communicate on the weak side, and keep his feet quiet so contests are early. Conditioning matters, availability matters, and the staff won't apologize for managing minutes in back-to-backs. And if you've watched him the last few seasons, you know the mid-range numbers and the catch-and-shoot profile travel. That stuff holds no matter the jersey. Now the part you came for. I'm going to say it the way I heard it from people I trust, and then tell you exactly what it means for the court. The Lakers have moved from monitoring to executing. The framework to bring Devin Booker to Los Angeles is not a fantasy board, it's the active file. The cost is real. Multiple firsts spaced smartly, swap language to protect both sides, and a package of rotation pieces that the Suns can put on the floor tomorrow instead of a pile of projects. The benefit is louder than a headline. You put a closer in purple and gold who changes how every defense guards our last 5 minutes. That's the reveal. It lands like a drum because it is one. Devin Booker in this offense is not a luxury accessory. He's the second engine on a plane that already knows how to fly. Let me put you courtside for his first night because I need you to feel it, not just hear it. First quarter, 7:58, sideline out of bounds. Luka at the nail, Reeves as trigger, Ayton lifts to elbow, Booker starts weak side corner. The action is simple, Spain pick and roll with a twist. Reeves hits Luka. Ayton screens. Booker ghosts across the paint, catches on the move at the right slot, one dribble to the elbow. Rise, net. No panic, no artistry for artistry's sake, just a professional bucket inside the offense. Fourth quarter, 119 tie game on the road. They blitz Luka, take the ball out of his hands by force. Cool. Reeves pockets to Ayton. Booker lifts, takes the swing, 2 hard bounces into the dotted line, stops on a dime, hits the 17-footer while the defense backpedals. That's why you pay for a scorer who can live without a script. How do you protect the room after a move like this? You tell the truth. Touches will shift. Rolls will shrink by 5%. But winning expands everything else. You sell the rotation on the math. Fewer empty trips, more free throws, more quiet 8-0s to close quarters. And you back it with a schedule plan that keeps legs fresh. JJ will have 2 or 3 Booker first sets he can call out of a dead ball, Iverson into a curl, angle DHO into a flare, empty corner pick and roll with Luka spotting weak side. He'll also have a defensive package where Smart or Vanderbilt warms the toughest guard, Booker shades a passing lane, and the bigs own the glass. You don't need 48 minutes of elite defense. You need enough stops around elite shot-making to win the minutes you're supposed to win. Front office lens, fast and fair. This is what all in without burning down the house looks like. You spend picks, but you keep a future bullet. You move rotation money, but you avoid surrendering every Swiss Army knife you've curated. You respect league rules so you don't eat a penalty that kills your flexibility for 3 years. And you pick a star who makes your other stars more efficient instead of someone who duplicates your strengths. If you're a Lakers fan who lived through roster churn without a North Star, you can feel how different this is. There's a plan, and it leads somewhere louder than tough out. I'm not going to pretend this is risk-free because you're too smart for that. If the shot wobbles for a month, the takes will be ugly. If the ball sticks, the pace will die. If health bites, the depth chart gets thin in a hurry. But that's why you do it in October and not at the buzzer in February. You give your staff time to build habits, your stars time to learn each other's breath, and your scouts time to hunt the veteran buyout that patches a hole. Champions don't wait for perfect. They prepare for messy. Adding Devin Booker is a bet on prepared, not perfect. Before I close, I want to hear you. Do you pay this price today, picks, swaps, a couple of rotation names, to lock in a closing 5 that nobody wants to see in May? Or do you ride the first 30 games and dare the market to be kind later? How do you feel about the touches? Luka first, Booker second, Reeves glue, Ayton teeth. And which crunch time pet play do you want Redick to own in the book? Tell me in the comments, because Laker Nation is smarter than any panel, and this channel lives on that conversation. My final read is direct and professional. This move makes basketball sense, cap sense, and timeline sense. A closer next to a conductor is how you win playoff possessions. A scorer whose best nights arrive inside an offense is how you protect culture. And a front office that moves with urgency in October is how you avoid desperation in February. If you're as locked in as I am, subscribe, drop a like so this hits every Lakers fan who prefers analysis over noise, and keep your alerts on. Because when the ink dries and the first sets with Booker drop, I'll be right here with the film, the numbers, and the truth.